Alright. Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classics. This is episode number 32, 92, and Doubleshot number 3186. First up we have is the Scorched Volume 5, which collects issues 27 and 32 of the Scorched series. And this is the most recent trade I saw on the app that they have released for the series. Okay. This collect issues 2732, written by John Layman, artwork by Steven Segovia. Mostly put, also artwork by Ron Randall, Jonathan Castellan, Kevin Kleen, Roman Gay, with Eficio Pasigo, Marco Ticado, with Francisco Tamatasi, Tantan Revolver, and Budget Burtis. The cover is the one for the trade is done by Marcel Tedito. So mostly put, the Scorched group at this point in this series is comprised of Scorched, the Haunt, who was a creation of Robert Kirkman and Tom McFarlane, the Crusader, and it's like basically Tom McFarlane just took characters that were in the main Spawn book that he wasn't planning on using and just put them in this book. Because we also featured, I think it's Jason Wynn and the Violator appear in this book too. Yep. And at one point, because the fact that the Scorched are sort of a enemy of whatever organization in the book, they think they're eliminated, but they're all alive. And, of course, She-Spawn herself basically is taken to hospital at one point. And that's kind of it that happens here. But, still a good book. But with that, basically, I am caught up to date with this one. As will Spawn book do next? Don't know. Alright, so next up we have is Savage Dragon Welfare. This collects issues 217 to 222. Written, drawn, and colored. Drawn, inked by Eric Larson. So, mostly put, basically, Maxine is calling. It's like basically, you worry about Malcolm missing. Of course, you have Maxine, of course, having her kids tear up a store. Yeah. And of course, you have Monster trying to remember him, Angel, but then she stopped. And then you have Kevin show up, basically pick up his niece's nephew. His nephew's niece. Oh yeah, and also you have him drawing a Punisher shirt. Yep. Let's see on damaged goods, of course. Yeah, and then we have basically the reason why she hasn't heard from Malcolm, because basically he's tied up with his crossover with Spawn and Ant. So this continues from that, and this kind of in a way I think wraps up the story. Of course he loses his hand, though his hand does grow back. And they work together for a little while. He goes home, and of course his hand growing back, and of course they mention the whole thing of mention about Donald Trump. Yes. Now, I should point out, though, Eric Larson writes a very dumb parody of Donald Trump in this book, where it's like, I hate aliens. And I'm like, it's a very inaccurate representation of the character. And also bring up the fact that Maxine's father's got cancer, he later dies. Also, a big character moment here for Dragon himself, he gets released in prison. Because apparently Barack Obama's his last official act in the Savage Dragon universe before he left office was to give Dragon a pardon. So yeah, he gets the best job of babysitting his grandchildren. Of course, you have one babysitter who tries to, and of course we have Maxine's father. Of course, one babysitter tried and the arm got ripped off. So they tried all the appeal stuff, doesn't work, and eventually the pardon came in, and of course, you have Mr. Glum. And of course, we have a bunch of anti-Trump protesters here. This is basically, from what I remember from the first term, this is basically a bunch of like people who are basing their hatred on Trump on, from what I remember, very fake info about him because of all the fake news surrounding him. And the media is kind of dense now, but they kind of try to fix it now. So yeah, and then of course you have where Angel tries her child, but nope, it's like she wants his mama. Of course he thinks that basically Maxine's his mom, despite the fact that Angel's her mom. And then of course he's released, obviously, dragging into this. And what's the first thing you do? Goes to his old partner Alex. That is until he finds out that his wife, the woman he was supposed to marry, is in fact alive and well. Angel's mom. Yeah, completely random. Yeah, basically Angel going back to Dimension X, and then finding her mom just randomly alive. Oh, she was kept in a frozen tube for 17 years. I'm like, really? Yeah, and then of course Susan sees Dragon. The first thing she asks him is to marry him. Excuse me. Her to marry her. Him to marry her, yes. Because... yeah, and apparently that because she's gone for so long, she apparently didn't know anything about Obama, Bush, 9/11. Then you have where Savage Dragon, you have Dragon himself reunite with Alex, and well, it's rebound sex. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, then of course we have Maxine Angels playing around, of course. And then another girl who apparently is falling for Maxine, who apparently is found butt naked, but Sheila gets close. Apparently her name is Marsha Bradley. And then this is when the proposal happens, and the book ends Malcolm arriving home, where he says his wife and his adopted sister basically are, well, just relaxing. Of course, Maxine's out. Oh, and the reason we bathrobe because one of the kids got her wet. Yeah, that simply happens here. It's by far really good here. It is quite... Now, my guess is Larson must have been because the thing is with Larson, there's actually one cover that, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, why the heck did he release this damn cover? When I get to the trade, I will discuss it, because it's a cover I despise, basically, for this series. Like, I love all the covers, but there's one cover I despised. I despise it so much. And I also don't like the fact that he basically turned Donald Trump into a fake parody of himself, where, this is just my honest opinion, he basically is based all of his information on this fictionalized version of Trump based upon fake news about Trump. Because the liberal media basically put out a lot of fake info about him that, oh, this actually is bad, this but I think it's actually good. Because they don't trust him because he doesn't lie to the public like our politicians do. Yep, we're now at the point, basically, we're going to talk about the years when how Eric Larson wrote Donald Trump. Which I should point out, though, in Marvel Comics, they never featured him the entire time during his first term. But here's something interesting, though. Did DC feature Donald Trump in the comic book? Nope. Guess which comic books that are not like Trump's Space Force, whatever, that actually featured him as a character in a book? This series and Spawn. Though Spawn basically was a cameo, at least McFarlane didn't do a terrible parody of him. Larson did. And he featured him several times in his book. I'll get to basically those soon in the future. Yep. Oh, by the way, before I end this video here, I should reveal though about Dragon himself, the original lead character for the series. He will soon leave the series. How? You'll find out when he gets that trade paperback for that one. Yep. I give this trade roughly a 9 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, this is the episode of video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, the Shy Hero and the Assassin Princess. Okay.